In another interesting sort of judicial story, the Michigan Republican Party had their convention, and Beth Clement, who had been appointed by Governor Snyder to fill a spot on the Michigan Supreme Court and is now running for election, had, shall we say, not exactly a love fest in Lansing at the convention this weekend. Tony Daunt was there. He's the executive director of the Michigan Freedom Fund. Welcome back to the program.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. Take us back to the beginning and tell us the story of Justice Beth Clement and why she has Republicans unsettled.
Well, from the beginning of the appointment process, there were concerns that appointing someone without a judicial track record of any sort is dangerous because they don't have anything in terms of decisions or writings to figure out what their real philosophy is. And unfortunately, over the last few months, on the split cases where Justice Clement participated, she voted with the liberal justices, in particular Bridget Mary McCormick and Richard Bernstein, 70% of the time on those split cases. And that is a pattern of judicial liberalism. And it's not just one issue. There are numerous issues that led to this, and it upset the delegates, the most active folks in the Republican Party, and they clearly displayed that on Saturday.
So isn't the catchphrase that we are supposed to appoint and then, I guess, elect justices to the bench that don't legislate from the bench?
That is what we as conservatives and Republican folks who, especially those who would attend a Republican convention, believe that, yeah, absolutely. We have folks in the legislative branch already, and it is for the justices, in particular those at the appellate court system level, to look at the law, look at the Constitution and what it says, and rule that way, not to do what they think is, feels good or is fair for any particular outcome. It's what does the law say? And unfortunately, we've had some decisions over the last few months that Justice Clement participated in and voted the wrong way under that philosophy.
So you believe that she is, in fact, then legislating from the bench?
I think that there are those, Justice Clement, Justice Viviano, also who have unfortunately kind of tilted that way. Fortunately, we do have another good justice up this year, and that's Justice Kurtis Wilder, and he received a very positive reception and welcome at the convention, and I think we can have these discussions and criticize decisions by other justices, but I think it's at the point where we should focus on the good things that Justice Wilder has done and do what we can to support him.
And Justice Clement, though, would have all the signs of being a conservative. She worked in the governor's administration, didn't she?
She was legal counsel and I believe deputy chief of staff at one point, and she's worked in for various Republican officials over the years. But unfortunately, we see it at the U.S. Supreme Court level too. Folks who you think are, they give the signs of being rule of law, being a conservative jurist. They get there and they haven't developed a philosophy, and it's easy to be led astray at times. And Justice Clement is certainly a very nice woman and a wonderful family, but when it comes to the issue of rule of law, conservative jurisprudence, she has shown that she is not of she's not of the Steve Markman, Kurtis Wilder, Brian Zara mold, where they look at the Constitution, they look at the law, and regardless of who the plaintiffs in a case are, they make the decision of what it says and how that should be interpreted.
Which decision, or I guess there were a couple, it sounds like, that have conservatives upset, including yourself?
Yeah, there were several. I think obviously there was the issue of guns and school districts preempting state law by prohibiting guns, folks to concealed carry. There's the issue of some contract law where, a case that is as clear as could be in terms of what the law says on what a contract is. And 4 of the justices determined that an issue of, without getting in the weeds here, an issue of judicial supremacy reigned over the actual text of the statute. And that's just simply not a rule of law decision. And there's some other insurance or liability related issue. And then, of course, the voters, not politicians case. But, it is a pattern of decisions.
Okay, let's continue to talk. You can get Tony Daunt's Michigan Freedom Fund publication, Frontlines of Freedom. It's a weekly update, and they can do that by registering at MichiganFreedomFund.com, correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right, thank you for the very candid and sort of a simple way that he explains to us why some conservatives are not happy with the Supreme Court Justice candidate Beth Clement serving the bench now.